We are going to talk about, in this video, why is it hard to live a narcissist? Why is it hard to live a narcissist? And for us to better understand this video, we first of all have to understand what you're dealing with in the first place. The brain of a narcissist doesn't work like yours. You might want to think that you're dealing with a regular person, a normal human being. They look normal, you see them, they are grown-ups. They can move around, they can eat, but you're dealing with something entirely different. You're dealing with a person that is not only broken and dysfunctional, but you're also dealing with a legion or a set of demonic spirits. So, by you understanding this, it becomes very clear that you're dealing with something that is beyond the person that you're entangled with. These demons have an intention to finish you off. They have an intention to finish you off. They have an intention to destroy you. If you don't get out on time, you will find yourself paying the price of something that you didn't even know you was dealing with. During the course of those relationships, the narcissist is going to send so many uncoordinated signals and wrong signals with the brain, because I've told you are dealing with something that is entirely different, spiritual. They are going to send some waves within your brain. Bit by bit, it's going to feel like they're eating away your brain. There's something that people call, I've talked about, they call the pull and push. They are going to push you away. Okay, they don't want you and whatever. So you try to leave, and then they're going to come back and drag you back inside into the abuse. You come back, then they push you, then they pull you. So there's a pull and push thing that normally happens. The coaches have talked about something they call the discard and hoover, the pull and push. That thing sends the wrong signals to your brain, and it very much messes up with your head. You want to leave, and then you want to stay. When you stay, you want to leave. When you want to leave, you want to stay. And a time comes where you feel like your brain can no longer handle the abuse. You feel like it's enough. You've had so much of that abuse, and you feel that you want out. You're tired and you want out. So when it comes to that moment where you actually finally take a decision to leave, you're going to find yourself struggling. In the first days or weeks is when you're going to notice that you have got a very unusual and very disturbing addiction to that particular individual. This is like a person who is addicted to a certain drug. If you have been addicted to narcotics, maybe you're addicted to alcohol. Every time you drag away from this, you try to say, okay, this is enough, I want to stop this. There is something that you don't understand that keeps on pulling you back into that addiction. That is the same scenario that will happen when you are dealing with a narcissistic individual. It is a very strong, toxic addiction that your brain is used to. Your brain doesn't know anything else outside of that situationship. Your brain only understands and recognizes abuse. Even if a healthy person ran into you, you will recognize that they're healthy, but you will also recognize that there's an element of them that is missing, and you will not see them. You will not be able to see them as complete. So your brain cannot recognize, no longer recognize what is healthy. And it becomes a tug of war when you're pulling away your energy from a narcissistic individual. That is one of the things that will happen. I know for a sure fact you are going to struggle. I was personally discarded, and then in the first time I was hovered back. I think it was about 2 months or so. When I came back, the abuse kicked off all over again, and then eventually I was blessed. That is when my awakening happened. So the second time I was moving out, or I moved out, I'd already figured out what I was dealing with. A lot of victims of narcissistic abuse struggle to break free. So by breaking free, it's not just, you're going to pack some bags. You put some clothes in your bags and whatever, you give them back their keys or whatever, it fits a home, and you walk away. It doesn't really work like that. Pulling away from a narcissistic individual is more than physically pulling away from that person. It's also spiritual pulling away. It's also energetic pulling away, emotional pulling away. And the emotional pulling away, that is the most complicated and difficult thing. Now, it is going to help you if you're physically pulled away. Yes, there will be elements whereby you don't have to see them, you don't have to deal with them. They're not coming around, showing up, or whatever, even if they always, continue going about and stalking you and trying to find where you are and that stuff like that. So when you're pulling away from a narcissist, normally the first thing you need to put into consideration is you are going to create a very, very huge distance between you and them. So they are not supposed to know where you're going. You're not supposed to know what you're doing. You need to change your phone numbers. You need to change your addresses and stuff like that. So it is going to add a very big, I could say, element of relief when they're not around. But you're also going to have to work on your emotions, because like any other relationship, you will find yourself, you're missing them. You want them to call you. You want them to, show up. Maybe you're looking at your phone, hoping they're going to send you a message and stuff like that. But it is your brain that is playing tricks on you. Your brain is telling you like, it's okay. Okay, there was not nice, but if you go back in there, you're gonna work things out. You guys can talk things through, and things can get better and stuff like that. So your brain will continue to play tricks on you, but you have to push beyond that temptation. You find yourself that you've been away from a narcissist, and it has been like a month, maybe 5 or 6, and you run into them, and you don't even know how in that particular day or night you've ended up in bed with that same individual that used to abuse you. So it's going to be a very challenging period for you in the initial stages of the discard. You don't know what to do. They've already brainwashed you. Nobody else can love you. Nobody else will like you. So you are there believing them. You think that maybe they're right. But it's all in your head. All those things they used to tell you that they're the only right people for you, they was brainwashing you to sink very deeply into the abuse, so that you cannot recognize when the time comes for you to finally get away. You feel like it's impossible to get away from them. Now there's one of the things that you guys need to understand. The guys who are waking up and you're starting to understand the abuse and figure things out and stuff like that. There's 2 challenges you need to prepare for. The first challenge is going to be pulling away physically. But in my recommendation, I normally recommend, first of all, pulling away energetically before you physically pull away. Because even if you physically pull away, yes, if it's necessary and it's the only option you have, then okay, pull away physically. Maybe you go to stay with a friend somewhere, move to the next district, next whatever town, next city, whatever. It's also going to help you. But if you're in a situation whereby it hasn't yet come to that moment and you're ready to pull away, maybe you're still getting some resources together, putting some money together, then eventually you need to start, first of all, pulling away energetically. By this, what I mean, You're going to have to stop sleeping with them, avoid sexual contact with them, avoiding a lot of communication with them, avoid giving them those reactions that you've always given them, because I've told you that these guys are energy vampires. So try not to give them a lot of reactions. When they try to pull your buttons, try to ignore them. Try to do everything you can to protect your energy, because the more you protect your energy, the more the narcissist will be starving. And because they need that supply, they need that fuel, they need those reactions, they need those emotions from you. That is their food. So it might also trigger them to run around and start recruiting, or I could say grooming, somebody else that people call a new supply, that most likely is going to be able to provide them with that supply that they deserve. And then eventually, when the right time comes, the pulling away physically is going to be a little bit easier for you, because you're already emotionally disconnected from that person. So when I talk about living a narcissist, I have always told you guys in my videos, it is not easy. Okay? It is not easy. I stand with the ones that are trying to break free and, get away from people, family members, relationships, friends and whatever, jobs. Even sometimes there are some toxic jobs you've been doing, and there has been a lot of narcissistic individuals. You're going to move around and you will see that this whole thing has never been about that particular narcissist that you have been involved with. It has been going very deep. It has been a spiritual battle and warfare on your soul. And you're going to recognize there have always been a lot of them around you that you never wasn't able to recognize or see a couple of years ago, but now you're going to see them. They're everywhere. They're all over the place. So when the struggle comes in and you have those missing moments, when are they going to call me? You're looking at your phone. You can't sleep at night. You have the mood swings. You have it's a very big torture dealing with a narcissist. I don't know, in my opinion, if there is any experience a person can go through or has ever gone through compared to dealing with a narcissistic individual. That is one of the most horrible things that could ever happen to anyone. I do not wish that on anybody. I hope as the time goes on, we are going to wake up, continue waking up, setting up some boundaries, really knowing what we want, and trying to analyze and understand the people that we want to bring close. Because if you come close to the people that have dealt with a narcissist for some time, you're always going to feel like they're talking about a fairy tale, something that you can only read about in books, or maybe something you can only watch in movies. But for the ones who have survived, they have lived to tell the tale. So be patient with yourself. That's all we can say. Be patient with yourself. Work on your emotions. The mood swings are going to come. Deal with those emotions. Allow yourself to mourn. Break a plate if you can. Roll on the ground if you can. Mourn and mourn, so that you can release that energy. Because this whole entanglement was about energy. It was spiritual. It was not simply about you dating them and sleeping with them and doing all these little things. It was more of an energy transaction, whereby you was dealing with the energy vampire that was assigned to your life to siphon your energy for the longest of time. And we all understand the end result of any form of narcissistic relationship has always been to destroy you, break you down, and make it impossible for you to move on with your life after abuse. So I stand with you, the survivors, the victims who are living, the ones who understand abuse, the ones who have been there, the ones who are living to tell the tale. I stand with you. Educate yourself. When you're out there, get more information. The more information you get is going to actually help you to lift the veil again and again, until eventually you can clearly see what you have been dealing with behind the scenes. Narcissistic abuse is very dangerous. It is a spiritual affair. It is very destructive. You're not dealing with simply a human being or a small little child. On the physical, that's what it is. But on the spiritual, you're dealing with a person that is entangled with a legion of demons. And they have been like that for the longest of time, and there's nothing you can do. There's nothing even themselves can do. When you see it, it's time for you to take the steps to make sure that you get out, go work on yourself, educate yourself, and heal so that you can become your greatest version and eventually step into that person that you've always wanted to be. So let us know what you think about the video. You guys know I do love and appreciate your support. Please book a session. You may donate or support my channel if you want to. Everything you need, you will find it in the description below. And until then, I'll catch you guys in my next one. There's almost signing out. Much love and blessings. Peace.